Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. How are you all? I hope you all are fit and fine and taking good care of yourself. Welcome to Journal Science of Class 5. My dear students, in our previous lecture, we have studied about push and pull, and we have also studied about force. Now, what is a force? Let me repeat it again for you. A push or pull acting on a body is called a force. A push or pull acting on a body is called a force. In simple words, you can also say that when a push or pull is applied on a body, it is called a force. Now, in today's lecture, we will study about simple machines. First of all, let me tell you what are simple machines. A machine with few or no moving parts. A machine with few or no moving parts. This means if any machine which has no parts, to move or less moving parts. So that machine is said to be a simple machine. Let me repeat it again for you. When you have to listen to me very carefully. A machine with few or no moving parts. This means if any machine which has no parts that move, or less moving parts, so that machine is said to be a simple machine. Now, if we talk about work, what is a work? When a body moves as a result of a push or pull force, work is done. My dear students, do you all remember about this exercise, this warm-up exercise that we have discussed in our previous lecture? In this warm-up exercise, we have discussed about the actions of push and pull. But these actions of push or pull is basically the work done, because as I have told you before that if a push or a pull moves an object, through a distance, then we said that work is done. And in all these pictures, push and pull is moving an object through distance. So this is work done. Machines. Now if we talk about machines, so a machine is a tool that is created by people, human beings, which help us to make our work easier and faster. My dear students, machines help us to make work easier and faster by using less effort for more work. If we have so much work to do and that work is very hard to complete and we have less time and we are not going to do that work in such less time, so in that situation, machines help us to do our work faster and it makes our work more easier. They also help to move large and heavy objects with less efforts. Now there are so much machines in this universe and there are different types of machines. So in today's lecture we are going to study about simple machines only. A simple machine is what? A machine with few or no moving parts. A machine with few or no moving parts is called a simple machine. Now there are 6 types of simple machines. How many types of simple machines are there? There are 6 types of simple machines, and in all these machines few or no moving parts are used. So the first one is lever. And tongue is the example of lever. Pulley. Lifting a weight is the example of pulley. Wheel and axle. Do you all know wheel is also a machine? It is also a kind of machine. Inclined plane. Ramp is an example of inclined plane. Screw and wedge. But in today's lecture, we will discuss only about lever and its type. So for that, open up your books, page number 71. Now, what is a lever and what its function and what kind of thing is this? In today's class, we will discuss about all these questions. So, a lever is a bar or board on which rests on a point where it can turn. A lever is a bar or a board which rests on a point where it can turn. The point on which the lever turns is called the fulcrum. The point on which the lever turns is called the fulcrum. The object to be moved is called the load. The object to be moved is called the load. The force exerted on the lever is called effort. Exerted means applied. Exerted means applied. So the force applied on the lever is called the effort. Now there are 3 types of lever depending on the position of fulcrum, load and lever. There are 3 different types of levers depending on the position of the fulcrum, load and effort. So these are the 3 types of levers. First class lever, when the fulcrum is between the load and the effort. Now, I will explain you in detail about these terms fulcrum, load and effort. This is the first class of a lever. And what I have said about first class of lever, that when the fulcrum is between the load and the effort, it is called a first class lever. In the first class lever, this is the fulcrum. Basically, fulcrum is the support. It is providing support to the effort and the load. See, because of this fulcrum, load and effort are able to be in the same position. So, fulcrum is the support. It is providing support to the effort and the load. This is the fulcrum. In the first class lever, the fulcrum is in the between the load and the effort. This is the effort and this is the load. It is called a first class lever. Now, look at this picture. This is the same as this one. Now in this picture you can also observe that the supporting thing is the fulcrum and this is the load and this is the effort. Ignore this one. This is the fulcrum. With the help of, or you can say with the support of fulcrum, there is load and there is the effort. So what we have learned about first class lever, that when the fulcrum is between the load and the effort, it is in between the load and the effort, it is called the first class lever. Now look at this picture of the man trying to move a large rock with a pole. Now as you can see in this picture, there is a man trying to move a large rock with a pole. Here, where is the fulcrum? Here it is. The fulcrum is the support, right? With the help of the fulcrum, the pole is able to lift the load. The pole is able to lift the load. So in this picture, the man is trying to move a large rock with a pole. So here the rock is the load. The point in the small stone where the lever is resting, At this point, the lever is resting is the fulcrum. This is the fulcrum, and it is in between the load and the effort. As you can observe that at this end, this is the effort. This is the effort. The man is trying to move a large pole, so he is making an effort, and this is an effort. This is the point of effort, and here is the load. This is the load. So the fulcrum is in between the load and the effort. So this is said to be the first class lever. First class lever when the fulcrum is in between the load and the effort. This is the first class lever. Now, if we talk about these two examples of the first class of lever, so the first one is the pair of scissors and a claw hammer, and this is the same as the first one. As you can see that this point where the lever is at the rest, this is the point where the two things join, load and effort. So this is the center point is the fulcrum, and the first point from where we hold the scissor is the load. From where we hold the scissor is the effort, and where the load is applied is this point. Right? This is the fulcrum. The hand which is used to hold or to move the object is the effort, and the object to be moved is the load. And if we talk about the claw hammer, so this is same as the pair of scissors. Now let's revise this concept of first class lever again. When the fulcrum is in between the load and the effort, it is called a first class lever. Now moving towards our second class lever. A second class lever when the load is in the middle. When the load is in the middle, fulcrum is at one end and effort at the other end. In the first class lever, the fulcrum was in the center, but now when the load is in the middle, and fulcrum is at the one side, or you can say is at the one end, and the effort is at the other end, it is called a second class lever. It is called a second class lever when the load is in the center. Instead of fulcrum, the load is in the center and the fulcrum and effort is on the other two ends. So this is the second class lever. Now we will look at the examples of these. The examples of the second class lever is a wheelbarrow. Now look at this picture carefully. In this picture, according to the second class lever, the load is in the center. In the wheelbarrow, there is some stuff. So this is the load. The effort is applied by the man, and the fulcrum, the support, is at the end. I hope you all got my point very clearly. Let me repeat it again for you. This is the, where is my pen? This is the load. According to the rule of second class lever, this is the load, and the support of this wheelbarrow is the fulcrum, is this wheel. So this is the this is the fulcrum. Because of this fulcrum, the wheelbarrow is able to move. So this is the fulcrum, and this is the effort applied by the man. So this is the example of the second class lever. Now the second example of second class lever is the nutcracker. Now this is clear that the load is the nut. The load is the nut. The fulcrum is the starting point. The load is this nut and the starting point is the fulcrum, and the effort is applied by the man. Mostly the effort is applied by human hands in simple machines. So this is the example of second class lever. Now if we talk about third class lever, so now in third class lever, the effort is in the middle. Now the effort is in the middle. The fulcrum is on the left side and the load is at the right side. In this, so this is the third class of lever. In the third class lever, the effort is in the middle and the load and the fulcrum are at the two ends. It is called a third class lever. It is called a third class lever. Now let's see the definition of third class lever. When the effort is in the middle and load and fulcrum are at two ends, this is called a third class lever. Now the examples of third class lever is a broom. And tweezer, fishing rod and tongs. So let's see the first example of the third class lever. As we have studied that in third class lever the effort will be in the middle. So here is the effort. In the broom, the effort is applied from this point and the fulcrum is here, because if no one is here to support the broom is not be able to work, right? So the human hand in this example, or in third class lever, a human hand is the support. So this is the fulcrum. You can say a human hand can be a fulcrum in third class lever, and the effort is applied from here and the load is this piece of the broom. This is the load, this is the effort, and this is the fulcrum. In third class lever, the effort is in the middle. The load and the fulcrum is at the other two ends. And now the other examples like tweezer, tongs and fishing rod. These are same as the broom. Now let's revise this concept of lever again. So there are how many types of lever? Yes, there are three types of levers: first class, second class and the third class. Just wait a second. We are going to revise this concept. So we have studied about the three classes of lever. The rule of first class lever is when a fulcrum is in between the load and the effort. A fulcrum is in between the load and the effort. This is the concept of first class lever. And the example of first class lever is, who will tell me? The example of first class lever is a man lifting the load. Remember? Now, when the load is in the center, let me use another color for you. When the load is in the center and the fulcrum and the effort is at the other end. The load is in the center, the fulcrum and the effort is on the other end. This is said to be the rule of second class lever. And the example of second class lever is the wheelbarrow. The example of the second class lever is the wheelbarrow. Now the third class lever. In the rule of third class lever, when the effort is in the middle, and the fulcrum and the load is at the other two ends, this is the rule of the third class lever. And the example of third class lever is broom, fishing rod, tongs and tweezer. So this is it for today's class. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Now read the chapter carefully and try to understand all the concepts of load, fulcrum and effort and the three types of lever. And take care of yourself, students. Allah Hafiz.